Welcome to the lovely IHP paid and free subscriber community. We have a bit of an IHP show going on right now with our topic of the day, Knowing Virtue, the 5D collective of mystic, spiritual, mindfully living, loving people. They got a 3-minute sample of an inner growth mindset exercise reading with a bit of a spotlight. We'll have our 5-minute and 15-minute in the paid subscriber IHP content on Spotify for podcasters, on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and a bunch more. So on Spotify and Spotify for podcasters, you'll be able to see a video alongside the 5-minute and 15-minute, again for the paid subscribers. We will be activating our Patreon IHP community membership at a certain time. I will give you a link below, and we are also beginning to have IHP TikTok live. So stay tuned for that, and subscriber content on TikTok. Okay, and that's just a little bit of announcements. Obviously, one-to-one mentorship. You email me to get on the sign-up sheet for our masterclass and for the workshops, retreats. On our IHP paid subscriber content, we will throughout the year, maybe 2025 or 2026, have a light version of the masterclass. Okay, and with that being said, as knowing virtue is not of all, although people like to use words, knowing virtue can take place with a person who doesn't get into self-righteousness and into this I'm good and others are not good. And let me explain. You're an embodied brain. So number one, the reason the 5D collective is different than 3D, 4D is the frequency we're in. You vibe at a high frequency, not because of being a mystic, spiritual, or mindfully living, loving person who does yoga or Reiki or mindfulness or mindset. It's because you can do all those, not the Reiki necessarily, but the mindfulness with the mindset, because you have your nervous system in the forefront. So I'm going to bring you data. I'm the woo pseudoscience lady, but what I am is a person who knows how I learn from smart academics, and the actual scientists have proven and will continue to prove that the disappointing human beings out there are emotionally immature people who want love. They do not want to do work on their emotional, mental, or physical body. They do like their in-group, and then they will be very self-righteously, they're good against the out-group, and so they don't want to work or mature. So they will use words like I do. The difference is I get to expand Maria, be in eustress, and that's why you can be here too. When you become a paid subscriber, you add to your daily routine, inner growth mindset, the one-to-one mentorship. You have objectives you want to achieve with me. Okay, so you're going to get to be yourself because you are a whole self. So when you own the sense of self, it's because your 1-year-old is yours, your 3-year-old. So my 3-year-old, she still comes up with my mom. And so my actual embodied brain, my body's security system is good because I'm not in a modulated or dysregulated embodiment. Maria knows how to be, as I mentioned in one of our episodes, an angry Christian Catholic who's a mystic, who's spiritual, who knows religion and spirituality all comes together, and that the left brainers, those who are not mature with their trauma charges, so the traumatized part of the brain, the emotional part is the right mode. And so if you don't contain the sensations, images, behaviors, the affects, which are all the emotions, meanings, that's why we have a bunch of emotionally immature people creating groups in addition to the flat earthers. So for us, what other people say about us doesn't matter. We will not be ashamed of what we have done, and that's because we have an actual clear conscious, because we have our 1-year-old who's securely attached right here. So 5D collective of mystic, spiritual, mindful, living, loving people, we are all the ones who are securely attached and non-traumatized. So we have healthy self-worth. Okay, so knowing virtue, it is about, yes, representing a positive, moral, excellent experience associated with goodness, righteousness, high ethical standards. These words don't mean anything to the 5D collective because words are what we use in an effort to communicate. But what we primarily are using in the first number one space is this. Use your human name. Awesome. I'm going to use my human name. Great. Our human species isn't black or white. Meaning 1 or 2. And you're 8. So our brain doesn't fall out of our asshole when we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So when people get pissing their pants because we can go to infinity and beyond with all subject matters, including spirituality, religion, and we put it in there, and they think that they know how righteousness, where you just leave it alone. I'm sharing with you stories right now, and as a 5D mystic, I've been doing this since I was a kid. So when someone says, you're confusing science, spirituality, I say, no. I bring human, spiritual, and spirituality elements together because I'm a mystic mentor, content creator, and podcast host, and I'm a Reiki master, and I'm an Akashic record reader, and so I do know also what theme our lovely planet is on, since it's ascending, and right now we're completely only in Dharma. The ones who do karma, it's unfortunate, they don't know how to handle disappointment and unknowns because they believe they are endings, not to those of us who are connected to pure consciousness, Purusha, and pure energy, Prakriti. 3-year-old, my pure energy, Prakriti, I'm using Maria's words, and the connected to consciousness, let me use Dr. Daniel Siegel's words, it's way better. So Maria's an integrated brain. The course, consciousness and change, amazing. So I have that whole self, okay? So the 5D collective, we own the sense of self. We love to do love, we love to live, laugh, learn, expand, and above all, we love to be intelligent for real. A truly intelligent mind is neither influenced by memory nor deluded by imagination. Thank you, Sadhguru. We do have our memory. Like my 3-year-old, she still comes up with my mom. But because the 5D collective has the thread to our vessel, which is our heart, a heart that is open to the truth of you as a part of all that is, and that gets to share life with a whole self, a whole self soul. So we have a spiritual self brain, whatever you want to call it, really words again, in relationship with true love. Okay, so when I think of virtue, I know who has it. It is the people who will bring forth a fair and just society, which they can be monogamous, monoamory, polyamory, polygamous. It's not that. It's just going to make the difference. They're going to know love because they know how to love themselves first. And if they don't, then they go to Patrick Tiahan, a awesome childhood trauma survivor who's healed and healing, a great therapist. As he points out, we can't rebuild having faith in people until we talk about how it got broken. And as he also points out, you cannot raise your vibration, live in abundance, or manifest your way through childhood trauma. But above all, as he points out, when a person has a hard time going to a therapist, is because they didn't get raised by a household where they were given the right to be a child. And so it will be tough for them. They'll think they're bad for wanting a healthy self-worth relationship. They'll feel ashamed for actually depending on it. They'll be scared shitless as well because they didn't get it in the first place. And then above all, they will be also angry and upset. And that's where that righteousness from the teenager, who then becomes grandiose contempt, and they're all pseudo-intellectuals, spiritual bypassers, and a bunch more of Peter Pans with Wendy's, and I spot them like a hawk. That's why I get to make fun of them. They're all Cuscos. Just put them all in a pile. So they do not have virtue because they have no hollow bone to be teachable. They don't want to connect to all. In fact, they actually believe the internet is, demonic as well as AI. They believe everything. I mean, it just depends who you ask. So they're not going to connect to us. They definitely don't experience life as it comes because they don't know how to use their prefrontal cortex. Because had they learned of Pat Ogden, as she shares, those who are securely attached and non-traumatized, like myself, we know how to self-regulate in the absence of our relationships. And like Dr. Daniel Siegel shared with me when I asked him, hey, Dr. Dan, so this is what happens. I didn't say I'm a mystic because I didn't have to. He's a sciences man. I'm not going to give him my woo-woo pseudoscience stuff, so there's no need. And I didn't say I have astral travel. I have my oversoul, my twin flames, my soulmates. I get to tap into all this stuff. So yeah, clarity and organization. We're grounded in reality, people. The mystic, spiritual, mindful, living, loving 5D collective. Join us. Become a paid subscriber. I know you're going to enjoy yourself compared to what I see out there. They're so like, wow. Anyways, so as differentiation happens, it's because I'm recalibrating my nervous system to Maria's guitar string, because I will have picked up on yours, and yours is telling me something about the unfortunate emotionally immature, dysregulated 0137, and basically I'm going to learn what you're calibrating to, and then I'm going to be disengaged from it, because once you meet the 5 Cusco hands and everything that they got going on behind your back, it's just like, okay, now I know the kid that I get to deal with when I'm around them. They're a grown-up, but no, they're really not. So radical acceptance is not I tell you to go fuck off. No, I actually know exactly how to accept, respect, and love all my brothers and sisters because, God taught me not to play know-it-all. Then I got also attachment trauma informed, and they taught me how a good gut, which is mine, won't be confused between what is human or AI. I have a couple of voices out there too. Also will not be confused between pseudo-intellectuals and intellectuals. Will not be confused of who an actual predator is. It's any human being who needs a therapist and who wants to use big words like that are the same ones who we will be aware are grandiosity, contempt, insecure human beings. When you need to sound sophisticated, I'm going to notice because you actually don't know what you're saying. Your energy won't match with the words you're choosing to use. And also people who usually tend to use this stuff, they try to sound all big. So we know what a loving relationship is. It's not hard. No, that's not hard at all. No, because functional child adults, we love to love, live, laugh, learn, expand, not cast stones, and we find solutions because we're proactive. We're smart entrepreneurs, smart artists, smart everything, stable. Thank you for the confirmation. Mature, adaptive, rational, and teachable. In the book that I'm a co-author of, The Ways to God, my chapter is called God is Discerning and Quantum is Love. So as a self-agent who's raised Christian Catholic by good catechists, they didn't teach me lies about, yoga bringing demons out of you. They also didn't get all exaggerated about tarot being demonic. And the ones who are not listening to the wisdom of the Dalai Lama, I learned about the Roman Empire a long time ago in history class. Grounded in reality people are mystics, spiritual, mindfully living, loving, who know who God is, and Akash and Source and infinity and beyond, and dark matter, dark energy. Please don't implode on us. Please, asterisk. So, scientists are bountiful, so are smart people, and so are loving ones, which is why, again, we find solutions because we love to talk and walk together in life as our true, authentic, higher selves. That's what the IHP community is all about, because otherwise you can't be yourself. I didn't realize how many people were not their true self, but instead are what? They don't explore their reactions from their past, which lives through them, so they don't actually know they're a fake version of themselves. But it's not a fake, Adaptive child part people, they could use Terry Real. He's another awesome therapist. They have what he calls a losing strategy because they don't have healthy boundaries. So some are porous and some are blocked off. And when they get into grandiosity and contempt, they really don't do themselves any services at all, or so a child's version of what a grown-up coulda, woulda, shoulda done, and it's, remember, they're 0 to 8-year-old. I get to handle children out there because they're still my brothers and sisters, and God reminds me to be nice. So as I learned from unknowns, they're not endings, because all my relationships expand, because I am empowered feminines know their oversoul. I forgot to mention that. We don't get disconnected from pure consciousness, Purusha, pure energy, Prakriti. My 3-year-old, she's a differentiated self. She still comes up with my mom because trauma doesn't get deleted. Nope, it gets to be processed by the embodied brain. I still work with the inner growth mindset that I teach and share with you all in our content, paid for free when I'm making fun, and readings. We will have more. Oh, also one-to-one mentorship. Obviously, if you have objectives, we achieve them. So my objective is, before I die, I might be able to handle my 3-year-old at some point, way, shape, or form with my mother and my twin. They're the two, because she taught me manners. So I say, look, you taught me manners, but then you let me get angry with you. So you can try spanking me now, but it won't work because it's done. I'm still the same 3-year-old and my 1-year-old. But also I have a twin. So technically, I don't need you as my safe haven, secure base. I already have one. See, I know what it is to be selfish. I need one human being with the bear. And in my implicit memory, I already got one because it was in the womb. Science, Robert Sapolsky determined, his book, for all I know, is spot on. I love you, God. But as Sam Harris points out, any of our churchable beliefs could be falsifiable. Science proved to me what God told me about my brothers and sisters. They have two choices. They can choose to be kind or unkind. Self-righteous people, those are people who are very angry. Now they're playing God. I won't be pointing the finger because God told me to mind my own business, and Jesus said forgive, and I forgive. I turned away, but I turned away because I'm like, if I look at them anymore, they're going to continue to be very angry at me. I don't know why. I didn't do anything. Oh, I do know. I'm sorry. Ventral energy. Deb Dana explained it. So did Stephen Porges, and so does Patrick Tan, and so does every smart therapist. When a human being gets treated like a little piece of shit and they don't want to admit it to themselves, and then they meet someone like me, yes, I know it's harsh, yeah, but it's the truth. So people don't like when you explain to them attachment wounds. No, I explain it, just not with this very much, because I am comfortable letting you all know right now the ones who should be here are only going to be ventral vagal state, common sense human beings who know, yeah, every single bit of unkindness we have out there. Michael Stone, he's a forensic criminologist. He has an evil scale. They all need therapy. The only ones who don't end up in prison are 7 to 14. I don't use philosophical and religious textbooks or stories for evil, Knievel, medieval, because science explains to me what my unkind brothers and sisters are, which is why God tells me to keep not judging human suffering a waste of my fucking time. That's how I judge it. So he's trying to teach me to continue expanding. As an Akashic record reader, I'm expanding my physical mastery. It's really fun. You're empowered when you're a self-agent with your embodied brain. This is why the ventral vagal state, that's what the inner growth mindset supports. But it's not, I want to it. I want to now. So when I've gotten disappointed, no, that's really not nice. It almost sounds like I have expectations for someone. I don't think that's fair. I never walked one day in your shoes. Is it fair for me to have expectations for people who got treated like little pieces of shit at home? Nah, I won't. But I can let you know, Diane Martel, that the most dangerous people in anyone's life are the people who make you feel comfortable with mediocrity. So what I'm going to do is not make you feel comfortable with mediocrity. Also help you understand that, as Dr. Amy points out, it's not about willpower or motivation. It's the body's security system consistently asking one question: am I safe or am I not? So when I see someone who is dragging around a pain point and suffering, and then they're patting each other on the back, I'm like, that's mediocre. They haven't done anything yet. They're simply walking around with their 0-8-year-old thinking they have virtue, a character trait or quality considered morally good and desirable. They use a bunch of words from their mouth. They even want to sound sophisticated. In the meantime, I see that they're negative in their frequency. They don't know how to vibe on a high. They continue to crap on humanity. They're insulting me by the minute. But wait, it's not personal. So let's see. Where's Sadhguru's quote? Not that one. He has a really good one on trust. And that's because it is spot on with when you meet half-brained people, the ones who don't know how to handle the traumatized part of the brain, the emotional part. I want people to stop thinking about what feels right in this world, and I just want it to be right. Yes, I want people to take care of our climate change, because it's heat for some, it's frigid cold for others. One, so air would be nice if everyone got their 2 hands, 2 feet today and decided to stop doing whatever it is that we can do to help our climate. Water and food there. So I'm really at ease with saying smart people will do what it takes so that tomorrow can continue being something that will allow us to breathe, because anyone who's smart will understand what it means to be without air. Anyone who's stupid will say it's selfish, the person, because they're going to put the mask on first. They instruct us to put the air on our face first, because if you faint and pass out, you're a dumb idiot you can't help anybody else. You're also a dumb idiot if you think that instinctively in a moment like that you might be able to do it. We don't know. I don't know. I might just faint because now I'm scared and I'm dying. Okay, so when people want to make it sound like they're living in an action movie, really, I don't even know. No, I do know. There's a bunch of them. My facade friend, he's the reason why I don't yell at anybody in their face. Oh, my twin flames, they're awesome. My soulmate's awesome. Again, my facade friend is the reason why I don't yell at anyone. And I know exactly what it sounds like when somebody is doing something in a specific way, which is not funny. So true, authentic, and higher self anchored in ventral vagal state, ventral energy. That's the 5D collective. We know what virtue is all about. We create fair and just societies by walking and walk and talking and talk. Restored, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating is what I'm pretty certain Jesus was. That's why we can embody, not Jesus per se, but the restored embodiment, like a Buddha or a Sadhguru. If your idea of trust is that others must behave as you expect, that is not trust. He uses the word that is cunning. I'm just going to say that's stupid, because emotionally immature people do not want to do the emotional work. They do not want to hear what you have to share, because they don't want to navigate their prefrontal cortex. They just want it their way, and they want you to pat them on the back. So they just want love. So they want to be lovingly accepted just the way they are, and then not to have to do any kind of self-regulation, so that we can have a very good expanding conversation. But it's okay, because we can handle all the children out there. So while they represent a group of people who will think that virtue means that I have moral excellence and that I have it because I have goodness and righteousness and I'm high on my ethical standards, and they just like to use big words. Virtues can be moral, social, or intellectual, and their cultivation is often seen as a key aspect of personal development and societal well-being. Yes, personal development. So all the people who have these, they know that we have in and out group people, and that unfortunately some people, they will not notice that their feelings first and that they really need to go and get themselves to someone so that they can stop basically projecting all of that which was their childhood upon humanity. I mean, really, it's so limited, I don't even know how to explain it to you. How the inner child's identity is formed within the toxic family system. Thank you, Patrick Tiahan. As he shares, childhood person who grows up in abuse has to find meaning about the abuse, and that's why they live with this shame. That's who they are. But you tell a person, they don't understand. Self-loathing, gut wrench, torn apart. With Patrick Tiahan, people go heal instead of acting all righteous in their anger. Okay, so for the 5D mystic, what I'm going to say is when I've been in the presence of knowing that I lack people with virtue because they're emotionally immature, they have unhealthy self-worth, they do not know how to use their gut, and they will justify that which is a person who is completely needing Patrick Tiahan. So they need him, that way they can rebuild their faith in humanity. They need him so that they can understand you don't raise your frequency, your vibration, any of it, and live in abundance or manifest. But the Zen master who says you cannot physically be an enlightenment frequency because you have laundry, he doesn't know how to use his own brain. I do. So it's an integrated brain. Okay, so we get to live our ventral energy and our true self with each other, the function of child adults at IHP. We heal trauma seriously because we don't have any, and if somebody mentions anything about our emotions, we'll say, okay, I'll take it back. I can continue talking. Do we continue talking? I say tomato, you say tomato. Do we want to keep it? We don't have to keep talking, but this is how I speak. Do you want to figure it out or not? That's why we tango. Okay, so virtue, it can refer to a disposition to do good and avoid evil. But we all know I'm evil to the person enough to be saluted who has unhealthy self-worth. And I actually don't think I'm evil, but he does. And since I am grounded in reality, meaning I know any of my cherishable beliefs can be falsifiable, I might be crooked and evil. That's called self-acceptance. Thank you, Terry. So grown-ups actually don't take anything personally because we know how to work our angry butthole. So my angry butthole is a Christian, Catholic, mystic, 5D plane, knowing Jesus. God tells me not to play the know-it-all and to mind my own business with my brothers and sisters. And I make fun of Buddha and suffering, and he makes fun of me because I spot it. And then I make fun of the people. No, I don't make fun of them when they are actually doing the temporal junction thing. I'm breathing, as the therapist all told me, that the best thing I can do is to differentiate. Thank you, Dr. Daniel Siegel, to remember that I'm a guitar string and they're a guitar string, and as long as I differentiate, move in my prefrontal cortex, I'm not going to be calibrating to the low frequency of those who do not want to be teachable and a hollow bone, and connect to those of us here at IHP and do the inner growth mindset practices that can navigate from our prefrontal cortex, because unlike some who need Tara Brach, we don't. So alert, alert, I don't do the waves of left to right, because when I noticed that I was doing it, I said, you can sit in the middle, Maria. And that's why my mindset is the inner growth way, because it's all about the body and the mind connected. Clarity comes because sensations, images, behaviors, affects, my emotions, and meanings are mine. So that's what happens when you're a 5D mystic, spiritual, mindfully living, loving person, and you'll resonate with that which is a personal development, spiritual growth, content, the paid, the free, the stories, and then if you do mentorship. Okay, so when you have somebody who thinks radical acceptance is yelling at people or saying evil exists when it doesn't, it exists only from those who need a therapist. Anyone who gets themselves to a therapist is going to learn in time how to become their actual brain, hopefully. Yes, because integration is something possible, as I learned from a bunch of my courses. And disorganized attachment and dissociative disorder is one of them. So if states of self people who had fragmented states of self can get their fragmented states of self integrated, pretty sure, because there's also Dr. Daniel Fox for borderline personality disorder and narcissism, and there's Kylie who's healing from it. So if one person can do it, then all the rest can, because she's not only borderline personality, she's also a narcissist. And as she heals, those who actually send her threat mail and hate mail, they lack education, like the man who said the lack imagination evil. You lack education. You lack capacity to have a heart that says, wow, I'm so happy that all these children can heal today. and get access to the kingdom of God within them, heaven in the body, because they can learn how to use their nervous system. Anybody who wants to insult my brothers and sisters, I actually do have this thing called They All Can Make It, because I believe in you, which is why I didn't think 3D40 would stick around. But I did notice they are. So when you meet prophet and prophecies and gurus and yogis and every single one of the spirituality words that you want to go, bring it all in, anima mundi. Okay, so we do know how to go way, way beyond in ways that are really fun. So virtue, it is about good, avoiding evil. Philosophers, again, religious textbooks, the ones who still believe in stories don't understand what science explains, and Patrick McNamara's proving how decentralizing of the self works. So it's part of our embodied brain to heal itself, which is why embodied brain is doing great. The people who are masculines, which means they're dysregulated feminines, are not doing great, but they think that they know what they're talking about, so much so that they went ahead to create all their only schools all by themselves and say, we're going to dismantle modern day therapy, we're going to get rid of these people who think they know what they're talking about. Little do they know what intelligence is. Again, intelligent minds. We're not influenced by our implicit or explicit memory or deluded by our imagination. We're not influenced by our biases, because that's for stupid people. Pseudo-intellectuals build based on their charges, which is why we thank the enamored with themselves and the one focused, because they give us golden nuggets to continue into the future, because we have a beginner's mind, because we have a prefrontal. Also because we have the adolescent essence, so we know what compassion is. Nobody does it on purpose to hurt each other's feelings. It's not personal. And therefore, we can protect the future. As also, we get to be at ease, as I shared with you in our reading and spotlights. The ventral vagal state, you use eustress. That's why people will do the inner growth mindset. It's for your benefit. It won't be, I want now. So disappointment is funny because, one, it's rude for you to say I'm disappointed in somebody, because again, the trust is about you not having expectations. Okay, so you're not here to be me, I'm not here to be you. Being able to know it's not the end is a very easily done deal for the ones of us, though, who have a body, again, that is in the ventral vagal state. So you don't have calculation, and you definitely do know how to use competence, capabilities, and genius, because you have balance. Okay, so when I've met, again, the ones who think they have virtue, let me read. Moral excellence. So virtue often refers to disposition to do good, avoid evil. Avoiding evil would be avoiding all of those who disregard our lovely environment. We can't avoid people, so we are not going to be doing it that way. What we can understand is that smart people hang out together and create, and the ones who are full of distress, well, again, a good gut is not confused by human or AI, not confused by loving relationships or not confused when you learn about what restorative embodiment, self-awareness, accountability, and regulation is. The people who are confused, they're not confused, they are actually, as Amy would point out, resisting treatment is not self-sabotage. It's that they are used to their body being that way, the nervous system, so they will resist dietary changes, putting mindfulness mindset into practice, like this avoidant who went on screen saying she's not going to go to therapy anymore, and she made a page so that she could talk about being an avoidant because she felt that they were picking on her group. And the reason, though, she doesn't go to therapy is because they told her she's doing a good job. And then they tell her to do mindfulness and journaling. And, why would I? All people have a little of being fucked up. That's not what being an avoidant and having avoidant is. You're not fucked up. No one's fucked up. I mean, if you really need to sound like teenagers, fucked up, is that how you're going to be different? Are you the rebellious? So that's why the 16-year-old 4D collective, it's a fight response. They're all doing this self-righteous thing. They're all, in their anger, again, they're treating their body very, very not necessarily unmodulated. And that's why, as I was saying, I have an angry little butthole too, but it's an angry Christian Catholic who's a mystic who doesn't get angry for real. And I also don't hold on to resentment, and I don't do the righteousness thing because, well, God, He's good. And also scientists explained to me what my brothers and sisters who did not know that their childhood was a bit of shit. So, it's their choice. I can't make anyone learn to go to Patrick Chan or to Real for Real and then wait until they're ready to forgive their household, like their actual family. That's once you get all angry at that out of your system, maybe if you want. And I totally understand it, which is why I honor Patrick Tian. So for me, disappointment, I mean, really, I get to learn about a person, then I get to learn that they're going to let their facade, their fake self be in the lead, like my facade friend. Then I'm going to learn to accept that they're going to stagnate. And then I'm going to learn that there's different soul age groups, and I'm in the enlightenment soul age group, which is what I did learn. And so whenever you do something, thank you, Sadhguru, you can either do it willingly or unwillingly. If you do it willingly, it will be heaven, yes. So when you're able to be your true self, like Maria, mindfully with integrity and flaws, and you know not everyone's going to like you. So some people are going to say, you good, you're an evil. I mean, which one of the many things should I mention? Polyamory, mystic who does Akashic record readings, tarot, I do Reiki. Anyone want to go figure out which one of the groups are going to call us assholes yet? Really? I mean, all it takes is using words in certain ways, and people are all over it. And then they like to manipulate things because, when there's rigidity, it's, they're taking our identity away. Wow. Is it that fragile for you to be? So you really do have lack of capacity to understand how to use different words. That's how a right brain with a left brain thinks of people who make it into such a big deal when we're getting into tomato, because I like to see actions speak louder than words ever will. And when somebody is spending a lot of time sounding sophisticated, I'm not mesmerized. I'm going to be mesmerized as I see them. They can sound however they want. I want to not hear just your words. I'm going to see as you expand into the most amazing version of yourself, because you have a heart that is open, a gut that is good, and a head that works well because of bilateral vertical overall integration, and not a stingy, grandiose, contemptuous, self-righteous little butthole who thinks, I have God again, that you can play God. It's not Lucifer either. It's just a coward. And then when I think, no God, sure, dark matter, dark energy, you're still a coward. You're an ego who thinks big about yourself. You're not big. It means you're small. It means you double the trouble. I ain't going to do anything, as I cannot crack the grandiosity. And even if I could, I would dare not. You know why? Out of respect and honor for the 3-year-old. But above all, because those first 3 years of life are implicit memory, and snap and done. So I would not even dare, because my voice and anyone's voice, as well as our ventral energy, can trigger. And what makes me so sad in my heart? Do you know there are parents who sell their 3-year-old children, 2-year-olds? So when someone wants to tell me, and point a finger, I leave it alone, because they must have not heard through news outlets of what human beings who say they want children do to their children. And I'm not even going to specify what they sell them for. I don't need to get all in my pissy pants. And I don't need a story for myself. I have the data. Those human beings, most likely, who knows what the fuck happened to them, and so on and so forth, and da-da-da. So the ones of us who are going to make sure that transgenerational trauma doesn't get passed down is because we walk a walk and talk a talk. As mystic, spiritual, mindful, living, loving people, we don't need to talk. We're just going to be able to vibe in the love frequency, because that's the ventral energy. And then we connect. In fact, that's what I love about the internet, because it allows me to connect with those of you who enjoy this type of radical acceptance, which is virtuous for sure, integrity. You know how to handle your anger, your sadness, your fear. Like really so many people, you know what, I have a friend of mine, he's like, so you're just saying we got lucky, Maria? I said, yes. When you tell your friends, you just say you got lucky. That way they will leave you alone about it, and then that's it. There's science, they're proving the alleles and the genes, so you just let it be, okay? And so connectivity of the lovely teachable community. We're all hollow, but we're not hollow. So social benefit, virtues can also relate to positive social interactions and contributions, such as generosity, fairness, and cooperation. And as Sadhguru says, if you do it unwillingly, it will be hell. So when somebody is doing life in a way that they are suffering because they did not take note to go and get themselves to Patrick Chahan or Cheryl to get a good therapist, they get destabilized by change. We don't. That's why we are actually here, at least at IHP, the Enlightenment Soul Age Group person that's speaking to you. We know exactly what virtue is: honesty, courage, compassion, generosity, integrity, fairness, self-mastery, not control. Self-control begins when you're a kid. If you're lucky, If you need somebody, then you learn as you become an older person, teenager, maybe young adult. Now, once you get into, I know all those emotions, and I know your personality patterns, and now you're moving into self-mastery, which is really fun. So mental, emotion, physical, self-mastery, and prudence. Prudence is actually really great. So when you have the capacity to completely trust yourself, you have this thing where you don't tell people about what you are doing, and that's because you don't need people chiming in. You allow yourself to remember that people like to chime in where it's none of their business, unless they are a self-agent who is also a differentiated person. And it's not about not wanting to share secrets. There's a person who thinks all people, the CIA agent, we have to keep secrets from each other. Really? Wow. I mean, come on. Oh, that's like so Gladiator. Anyone want to live action movies for the rest of their life as they actually continue to just waste their years away in what is a low frequency? Because that's what happens when people don't learn how to handle their prefrontal cortex. The Zen master has laundry because he doesn't know how to cry and be in a prefrontal cortex. So that means he's doing his temporal junction and suffering it, which is why he feels tired afterwards. So there's a lot of ways I can bring to you different topics, but I wanted to share a little story as we close on out. So give me 1 minute for our lovely story. We are going to begin with a heart that lives in recognizing itself and one another. Okay, so as a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, functional child adult, which means I get to be Maria. I get to tell you all about how empowered feminine will know virtue. And that's not only women. It is anyone who will know how to be their functional child adult, because again, we know how to walk a walk and talk a talk as our true authentic selves. We have solutions and we have compassion. And so we know our emotions and thoughts are what we will be leading with, and it's our emotions that are mature, expanding, and consistently present with others. So I have mastery over my anger, my sadness, my fear, disgust, surprise, and happiness. Okay, so how disappointment and unknowns work for us is that they are not the end. That's why the main modules of the Inner Growth Mindset Program, the Inner Growth Mindset Program, you find it on the inspiringhumanpotential.com website if you're new. And it's dealing with unknowns, uncertainties, unexpecteds from within with an open heart while going with the flow. So I know all about this, otherwise I wouldn't be able to explain it. But in addition to the mindset, I got attachment trauma educated. Okay, so while I'm expanding my clairs and my light body and rainbow body and all of this great stuff, I didn't lose that which is my foundation, God, Jesus, Holy Spirit. So he is discerning equanimous love, which is why the consistent communication, always open, then source Akashani Mamundi, moving into the bigger spectrum. Okay, so I'm a heart that lives in you and you and I, like you, have one same frequency soul. So inner child you have like I do. Your 0-8-year-old is going to be an innocent child, but it might be one that does not know how to navigate love, because you will have navigated fear. And that's why, as Patrick Tiahan points out, we can't rebuild having faith in people until we talk about how it got broken. So people are healing those people, awesome sauce, because they're the ones who are going to join us at some point, shape, or form for the paid content with the Inner Growth Mindset, exercises, the readings, the spotlights. And that's because, again, as a mystic, woo, pseudoscience, yes, but our tarot readings are for themes. Ascending is what you are consistently doing. If you're an empowered feminine, you'll know about it. If you are an empowered masculine, you'll know about it. You might just come in at it from different spectrums. So I'm teachable. I'm connected to my own network, and you're connected to us too. And we navigate emotions with our prefrontal cortex. Okay, so clarity is here because I do accept Maria just the way she is. So none of my relationships are hard. And also, as lovely Sadhguru shares, and first we're going to actually read Bessel van der Kolk, then I'll go to Sadhguru. But Bessel van der Kolk, he's the one who wrote The Body Keeps the Score. And he gave me the download on why people don't know how to be themselves. When they're afraid, they look outside. And emotionally immature people follow their pseudo-intellectuals and their fake authority figures. They're fake because they don't know everything. Anytime I hear anybody, it doesn't matter. I'm pseudoscience because I know what data people do. And I know what true intellectuals do. They actually come together with their peers and they have a good time. And when we meet the stingy ones, we have a good time anyways, because we are consistently navigating our own embodied brain with the flow state, because that's why we have self-empowered, enlightening human beings, mystic, spiritual, mindful, living, loving people. Become a paid subscriber if you want to add to your daily routine. One-to-one mentorship, you inquire, can sign up for the masterclass, and then you can also sign up for workshops and retreats, Akashic record reader, tarot, oracle card guidance, and Reiki with personal development. For spiritual growth, for personal development, who doesn't have any interest in spiritual toolkits, that's where the mindset supports people, and I'm attachment trauma educated. So that part in and of itself allows me to know, do you work with all your child parts? Are they all uncharged? I know my 3-year-old, she still comes up with my mom, so I still get to work on that. Okay, so personal development, it's something people want to do, not I want to do it, or say self-help, it's bullshit. It's not bullshit when you own the sense of self, because your body, though, is yours, and it's in connection, not protection. So you feel good. I feel good. Na, 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 na. I knew that I would. You don't feel at all in the morning. I feel good. No, no. You don't feel sluggish, okay? And if on the other hand you do, that's why Dr. Amy Pijan, she says it's not willpower motivation for people that have a body that is not yet in connection. That's why they can resist treatment, dietary changes, mindfulness practices, or mindset, the inner growth way, bringing forth a constructive. So they don't want to do what even Anne-Laure Leconf gives them. Fix your destructive mindset in 15 minutes. They don't want to do what Tara Brach gives them. Alert, alert, get your prefrontal cortex down and stop with the waves of the left and right. Okay, so we, on the other hand, we do transpersonal and personal development. We enjoy having our beginner's mind, so that's why I love to use my two sides of the brain. I have compassion, protect the future, and my body is why I will continue to thrive, because in eustress I have not been using any stress that is bad, and you won't know eustress until you're in the aliveness, grounded in your body, in the left and right with default mode network down regulated. So that's the practice of becoming your sense of self, not only as an accepting grown-up, but also as a person who can have your inner child come out to play, like mine. The only way we can change the way we feel is by becoming aware of our inner experience and learning to befriend what is going on inside ourselves. Thank you, Vezzo Vanderkolk. And as Peter Levine points out, you contain sensations, images, behaviors, affects, meanings. So once you're a grown-up, you're going to enjoy here, and that's because we do know, also as lovely Gary V points out, karma is a real currency. Doing good things is wildly ROI positive. And karma also is something that you can do with dharma, because we don't build karma. But karma, there's so many different things. Yoga, there's karma, yoga, I believe, bhakti yoga. There's, what was it? Karma, bhakti, nana, and there's another one. I forget the words, but I learned it from Sadhguru, the one of energy, Shakti maybe. And when you are 5D Christ consciousness, it's your integrated brain. So again, you do understand, and you must be playing your mind. Your mind should not be playing you. Thank you, Sadhguru. So yes, we play our mind because we have the capacity to consistently be balanced. As Sadhguru again shares, whatever competence, capabilities, and genius we may have, all of it is meaningful only when there's balance. So when you're using your prefrontal cortex, you do understand how to be consistently a person who is open-hearted, and you have the intensity of your experience is more important than the immensity of your possessions. So you have the depth of your sense of self. You don't have no shame or guilt. An inner child that is still thinking that grown-ups who shame kids, good for them. No, not good for them at all. And the ones who don't understand just how bad they had it, they will have ways of continuing to feel this defective until they're able to stand up like a functional child adult will and say, I will rat a grown-up out as a child and feel, no, I'll know I did the right thing because I was raised in a child-centric environment. And then I was raised with my lovely body being a self-agent with certainty. So fear and physical safety is my number one priority, and then I will stand up for myself. And that's the part of where I have a bunch of funny stories, one of which I've told you, a babysitter who got fired because she scared my twin and I. And I actually got an even bit more of this intel. My mother was telling me that it's my twin that actually was more like clinging on to her and not wanting to be left with this babysitter. And my mother's like trying to figure out what's going on. I, on the other hand, didn't say anything, but my twin was like really, really afraid. And she went ahead to tell her that the babysitter was threatening us with this syringe and saying, and if you tell, then it's double the trouble. So, this babysitter got fired. And people who will say that's fair, scare the kid. No, that's not. No, you don't do any of this. So a person who is attentive and aware of what a child needs, which is to feel safe and not to use some scary monster stories. When I see parents who are actually thinking it's humorous as they record their kids and they're having them cry and then they're yelling at them and they're shaming them. I saw this one video. I laugh, but it's not actually funny, as a woman is teasing her son in the most idiotic way possible. And then they're actually also like using names and belittling the kid. And I don't think that's funny at all. So when someone says that they don't like compassion, I'm gonna be like, sure, you keep on being a vulgar, very disappointing, not virtuous human being, as you don't understand apparently what a 0 to 8-year-old is from the embodied brain perspective, because that's the part of where our brain has a specific way it develops. So while those who think that our generation is soft, sure they are. Keep on thinking that. I know we're not soft. We are aware and educated. And then we are not idiots. And fear-mongering tactics don't work. And belittling people and thinking is not going to work with the brain that knows, wow, that's fascinating. You don't even notice that you're a hypocrite. If your idea of trust is that others must behave as you expect, that is not trust. That is cunning. So hypocrisy to me is a human being who acts like a big badass. I'm a bigger shot. And then what they are is a very small ego. As Sadhguru points out, if you think you're big, you become small. If you know you are nothing, you become immense. That is the beauty of being human. And the expecting. So I'm not disappointed in people who lead with shame, blame, fault, revenge. And the dark sides of neuroplasticity is what I'm trying to let you all know. They have trauma. They need healing. They don't want it. That's it. 1 to 22, Michael Stone. He's a forensic criminologist. He's got an evil scale. They're all idiots. They all end up in prison. 714 are not charming to the smart brain. They're spottable. So at IHP, we won't have mediocrity. We are going to have people who understand intellect and emotional and intelligence, which is, again, if you're denying that you have any kind of bad manners, it's okay. We won't make you out to be a monster. You're not one. You're a poor child who didn't get tended to in the very child-centric way that I got. And unfortunately, your distress is not radical acceptance. And your authority-sounding voice is only going to fool the lost boys and lost girls who are adaptive child part people like you are, not you. But this is the part of the masses that Schopenhauer talks about. I don't want those masses. Those masses are doing really great. They're continuing to spotlight pseudo-intellectuals by the mile away. I'm like, wow, that's amazing, trending topics. So when you see trending topics, you'll know the ones who are authentic and who are expanding, and then you'll know the golden nugget ones. They give us always golden nuggets because, again, they are consistently full of ego with some information, and smart ones know how to be quiet. Our 3-year-old brother and sisters talking. They have a broken heart. It's okay. We don't want to make it more broken. Let them talk. That way they get it off their chest. That way they don't feel ashamed. They already feel ashamed anyways, and their mannerisms are completely visible. Okay, so you can't be disappointed of an ignorant, emotionally immature human being who didn't choose to be made fun of by their grown-up parent or whoever it is and shamed. And then you're getting to see memes from people who show me how they want their kids to get electrocuted, and I'm thinking that is not funny. Or the comedians. Sure, I'll laugh at the comedian who says that we're all, going soft with the whole allergies and whatnot, but no, that's not it. You're just basically spotlighting the ones who are annoying, like to me too, but it's not about us making it into a big deal. It's that we have the people who are codependent So the victims, how dare you? How dare you? Wow, okay, you don't know how to say, like, just talk about it. It's like with the polyamory community. I didn't do like, oh my God, they're offending me. They call me a whore. What shall I ever do? They call me a masochist. No, no. Or with mysticism, I saw this thing. They did this person. So how was it when you came out as a mystic? Not to me. Has made me think of when I was a teenager and said, I'm not listened to. And I said, what? Yes, you are. What is this? So when these people who are, by the way, 43D, they're like, well, when I came out and mystic, and it's like, okay, I mean, I get it. Sometimes I've cried too when I've been made out to be an evil bitch because I am a mystic by those who think yoga brings demons out of you and that they're better Christian Catholics than I am. And I'm thinking, not really, not for the ones of us who are actual in a relationship with that which is God, discerning quantumist love. So we know that some of our brothers and sisters have lost their way as they keep wanting the medieval times to be what stays. It's a very clear thing because, you know, again, there's no demonic possession. Patrick McNamara's proving decentralizing of the self and how it works and how our human species evolves. So the reality is, unless you're ignorant, which I'm so sorry, I'm the woo-woo pseudoscience lady. So when someone says, ha ha ha, neuroscience, everyone has something to believe in. Yeah, I know what dissociative organization and dissociative disorder, and disorganized attachment are, and I know what fragmented states of self look like, and you know, I'm just saying, like, I know some things, you know. So this is the part of where you can't prove it. No, they can prove it, but I'm not going to try to share that with anyone who obviously just told me that they like flat earthers. I like flat earthers too. So neuroception, it is what determines our response to everything in any moment of our life. It is not based on reality. It is based on one's perception. Thank you, Dr. Amy. So it's not willpower or motivation. So the people who didn't go and get their faith in humanity fixed with Patrick Tiahan, they have a child inside that won't see the light of day. And the ones who have in calculation, there is stress and struggle of the mind. In giving, there is joy. But the ones who have calculation, they also live in suspicion, always thinking everyone is out to get you. They will do very small things in life because trust is very important. And again, if your trust involves, I expect you to fulfill my desires, it's not trust. So when you have a person who already knows all these things right here, teenage boyfriend, I'm going to share that story. So I truly create what I care for. I don't suffer life. I don't suffer people being betrayers, backstabbers, cowards, unkind. Since I was a teenager, I was like, hey, God, so I'm 19. I don't see them. I just see liars. Now I'm 45. Again, when you meet adaptive child part people who don't want to heal, they are completely a child's version, thank you, Terriel, of what a grown-up is supposed to look like. And they use their modulated embodiment. And they think radical acceptance means being an asshole to each other. So when people are comedians making fun of all, I laugh with them. Polyamory, mono, I don't matter. I laugh with anyone because a heart that lives in recognizing itself in one another, I can actually relate. But when it comes to serious matters, I will let you know that I do not support any of those parents who are continuing to choose to want to carry on with trauma. And then I'm also not in support of any of spiritual bypassers who want to continue living the medieval times and say that demons exist. So I find myself knowing that the IHP community of paid and free subscribers enjoy doing the be yourself, ventral vagal state stuff. That's why the inner growth mindset exercises, the readings, and the spotlights are of interest, and you laugh with me. And we know that the world's going to be okay because God always wins. I forgot to mention that. Intelligence wins. Consciousness wins, but also science wins. Education wins. Intellect wins. So entrepreneur right here, I know exactly who is consistently winning because your contribution to the world is you, how you live, how joyful you are. Everything has an impact. Thank you, Sadhguru. Also, spirituality, as lovely Dr. Daniel Siegel shared with me, is a way of living with meaning and connection beyond the solo self. So the Christ consciousness, we have a body in connection. That's why we open-heartedly share our love with each other. And we do know that it is all of the words we speak and all of the actions we take, our very existence, that will be for everyone's well-being, because trust is where I am present, attuning and resonating with you, and I'll recalibrate and differentiate the minute that you're in a lower frequency and the entire room, and then I'll trust. So I'll be not disappointed when I meet a whammy, because I also know about the greatest gift that I can give to another human being is accepting, respecting, and loving them. And as Bezel Van der Kolk, Stephen Porges, Peter Levine, Dr. Daniel Fox, and everybody else has shared, when you give someone the capacity to have a different interaction in the moment with what is their non-metabolized trauma projection time, they might, nah, they won't. Nah, they might. Nah, I don't know. It's their choice. So what I can tell you is that lovely Dr. Daniel Fox informs us. Imagine a person trusting a kind person less. And then imagine a person who thinks of their relationships as battlefields. And imagine a person continuing to test someone while they misinterpret neutral situations as hostile, and they think positive is weird. So imagine when people don't believe in human kindness, which is why, again, you do not heal anything as a mystic, spiritual, anyone who's a bypasser. If they still think people are pieces of shit in the actual way, they haven't healed themselves, nor have they forgiven the fact that all of our brothers and sisters of 3D, 4D are the emotionally immature people that want love, not work, and they actually do not believe that working with emotions is valuable, because, you know, they want a world where it's not about what feels right, but they want a world where it is about what is right. And I would love to see that too, but that's where it's all about the air, climate change, the water, our oceans need us, and the soil, food. So our basic necessities, which the 3D, 4D completely make a buffoonery and a mockery of the scientists who have consistently, you know, brought forth data, and then they talk about conspiracies. And, well, you know, I could bring in the entirety of a conversation, but I won't, because thank you, God, as God consistently chimes in, he made me become aware of not playing the know-it-all when I was in my 1920s for reasons reasons that are obvious to a person who knows herself. And that's because I'm logical and genuine as a perfectionist who's imperfect and flawed, but I know where I learn my information. So when someone gives me what is adaptive child part behavior, I kind of spot it. So I'll be disappointed. No, I won't. I'm attachment trauma educated, and that's why I'm so happy I got the knowledge, because when I was disappointed in the moments of my time where I was, I'm an empowered feminine. I have my own empowered masculine. So what I have to share with you all is that it's not because I'm a woman. It is because I do have a relationship with God, Spirit, Akash, Source. Yes, for me, Maria. But there's masculines who are empowered who have the same relationship. So the greatest gift that we can give each other is to accept, respect, and love each other for just the way we are. Yes, I agree, Sadhguru. If you overflow with humanity, divinity has to descend. Yep, because you're a pure consciousness brain with a prefrontal cortex. It's called integrated brain. It's a flow state. So I'm acting in a way that I know, because you know how many people say, ha ha, I find it hard to believe. It's like, okay, really, come on. No, I have a good gut, and I can't handle. No, I can. But we won't have any emotionally immature people who want love. They want an in and out group story of who's special, and then they don't want to do the work and get mature. So I don't want any of those who are just looking to be a part of the trend of mysticism and enlightenment and intuitiveness, because yes, we are guided by our intuition, our nervous system, and ourselves, but that's only if you're a smart person who is stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable, and in your prefrontal. Otherwise, I get to deal with your 0-8-year-old who's needy and actually cocky sometimes, and I don't really want to have to deal with any of that, because we are walking a walk and talking a talk. Actions speak louder than words, so we don't need to voice as much as people think. For most people, love means you must do what I want. No, love means they can do what they want, and I will still love them. So people who do know that for better, for worse, for sickness and in health, for richer, for poorer, in death do you part, it's not about monoamory, monogamists, or polyamory. And no, not all of us are polygamists. It is, do you know that the brain is running a model of its body? Lisa Feldman Barrett. Okay, so when you have people who are teenagers, they like to be a part of a crowd, and they're actually not intellectually savvy enough to notice if they are owning that which is their emotional, mental, and physical plane. So when you wake up in the morning, did you sleep well? Are you thinking with ways that are productive? The minute I spot mediocrity is because they're going to be suffering life. While when you are not mediocre, when you're creating what you want, you continue to create, and you don't get upset at God, and you don't get upset at humanity. You get into your hissy fit, self-righteousness 3-year-old. Okay, so people who get angry and then they make blanket statements, they think that they're strong, and I know they're not, because they're now looking for bystanders to take their side, and they have an agenda, which is why emotionally immature people are very much someone that I will notice, and that's why I'm having fun with the comedians on all of it. I also am not afraid of tomorrow, because again, between God and being grounded in reality, hey, dark matter, dark energy, don't implode. Okay, so empowered feminines know virtue, integrity, because we know empowered masculine. It's an integrated brain, restorative embodiment. Okay, so with that being said, and Source and Akash, I'm a mystic, I'm enlightening, I'm light body, I know a bunch of our timelines. And I am having my conversation is with God, because that's the only conversation I need, because God is discerning in quantumist love. As you learn my story from the chapter I wrote in the book I'm a co-author of, The Ways to God. If you want, you don't have to. I still have to share the clips from the lovely launch party we had. But my point is that in this 1 and 2 and 3, a numerous number of conversations, okay, because I got 4D who are all dysregulated. They're all basically just think Mean Girls, Hangover, think of the stupidest thing teenagers have ever done, and then look at them in college, and then look at them again, and then just think of Pinocchio and his island. And then just remember that people don't choose to have their trauma on a wheelhouse and do drugs, fuck, drink, and continue to be buffoons. Apparently they ignored therapists in college. No, there's some that are bad at their job, and they don't believe in neuroscience, neurobiology, and they're in fact being interviewed by the minute. So when you meet ignorance, it's very clear. It's not about the life being suffering, is that the 3-year-old is actually being ignored, as is the first 8 years of life of a person, and all the smart people who are online like Patrick Chan telling them, hey, come get your childhood stuff healed. You'll live a very great life. Okay, so I am aware that I am, thanks to my upbringing as a Christian Catholic, Jesus, God, Holy Spirit, I said yes. I'm aware I'm having clairs. They're like spiritual gifts, but I know some of my brothers and sisters won't welcome me because I'm a mystic now. Okay, I'm aware of all of this. I'm aware that I'm an evil bitch, Knievel witch, whatever bullshit words people want to use, because words don't mean anything to me except for I'm trying to communicate. And if you're going to begin to get piss in your pants, I just learned how to handle it with, I'll say tomato, you say tomato, and then obviously if we can hit it off and we begin to speak together, great. If not, it's okay. I won't be missing out on mediocrity, Maria. So whenever someone's like, oh, you let who get away? I don't let anyone get away. If somebody's not compatible, I'm not like, oh my God, they didn't want to talk to me. So I definitely had more than just one lovely conversation with God about stuff. And to bring it to a long story short, disappointment is not fair to use, because when a person didn't begin life, as Robert Sapolsky with his book Determined points out, in a way that allows them to know what love is, I can't expect them to trust it. I can know that they have the opportunity to be self-aware, accountable, regulate, and to notice their shitty behavior. But like my facade friend showed me, self-fulfilling prophecies and the emotionally immature, selfish person, like my facade friend, who is a whiner and or a convinced person, doesn't know how to tap into the eventual energy, because they are like any other egoic, adaptive child, not brilliant mind, convinced of their self-righteous and I know how to fix everything and nothing's broken. So no, you don't. But your assumption and your grandiosity and your contempt and your very big buffoonery assholishness comes through every single one of your pores. So my facade friend is why I don't actually get into anybody's face about being their self, and then the attachment trauma educators. In the meantime, the other stories that I have are that thankfully for this empowered feminine, I learned one about 4D completely disrespecting every single bit of a lot of things because of the way that they get into it's thanks to my subliminal messages. I know everything. And then the people who want that, they go for that. So there's your spiritual bypassers and your saver complex people, and then the bad therapists and the bad mystics, the bad meaning ineffective. So the good ones who have virtue integrity, we say, hey, here's all the data. You want to live a good life? Great. I know how you can do it. Do you have your ventral vagal state on? Awesome. We're going to keep having it on. You don't want it. You want to be a superhero and a super. Okay, then you got a Zen master telling you about laundry somewhere, or someone else who's going to give you some story that is going to help you stay in that visceral. But that's not going to be here. So secure attachment on traumatized people are boring to the ones who want to continue with their hissy fits and their drama kings and drama queens. And so we all hang out together, but there's no disappointment for the experienced person here of spiritual self-help, personal development, and mysticism. My masculines are always amazing. I have my own empowered feminine, empowered masculine. Empowered masculines are even more amazing. Empowered feminines are even more amazing. And I don't want to create a preferred group, but I do prefer intelligent minds, because they're not influenced by their memory, implicit, explicit, so they don't project any of their childhood trauma upon me. They also don't get arrogant and very uninteresting with their pseudo-intellectual bullshit that stems out of their mouths. So they're not deluded by their imagination, which is why they don't come to me. I'm an intuitive. I know, too. I know. What do you know? What do you know? Why are you in my space? Excuse me. I didn't ask, is this a competition? Are you competing with my oversoul? I don't understand. What is this? Is this a meshing? We don't do a meshing here. We do differentiation. So when you meet insecure human beings, this is the insecure human being does not own their sense of self, which is why they need the labels, because they need their image. And I'm like, you need words to describe yourself. Do you know that if I take away those words, you're still here with me? Do you know how you vibe? How do you vibe with anger? How do you vibe with sad? How do you vibe? So when people don't understand that they're first of all emotion and they're looking, I want a world that is right now but feels right. You just did all emotions and all blah, blah, blah. I'm just hearing you be very upset on a screen, cynic with your survival mode and all those people who are in your frequency. And I'm like, wow, thank goodness we have scientists, because they can help anybody who wants to get out of that shit. So when people do decide to get out of that shit, they won't be, oh, it's disrespectful to call us drama kings and drama queens. They're going to say, yeah, I know, right? We got some drama kings and queens over there. They really are refusing Patrick Jan's work. I mean, come on. They would be so much happier. And it would be so cool if they healed all of it. Yeah, high five. So our IHP group, we care about people for sure. And trauma healing, we won't actually allow ourselves to say, oh, I feel so bad for the emotionally immature people. Oh, what shall we ever do? No, because they don't want to hear that. They think we're fakos. Don't you know it's dangerous to have no emotions? So again, I'm just saying and pointing it out. There's a bunch of 3D, 4D. They don't want to heal. I've tried. I continue to try. I'm not even kidding. I create awareness. The TikTok lives. Go check out the TikTok lives is where I'm going to create more awareness and have a lot of fun with y'all. Oh, I love it. So 5D collective, no virtue, and how disappointment and unknowns are not the end. This is the end. My only friend, the end. So yeah, I was very happy to find out about how to handle all of my brothers and sisters who are in hell in their bodies, and I feel sad for them because I know they can heal, but I know they don't want to. And then there's no demons attached to anybody, no Lucifer, no monster, just a bunch of people who like to get together and feel that they are saving each other. And it's sad to say they're not saving themselves. They are disrespecting their very own embodied brain, and above all, their child. They're cowards. Every single person who does not go and save their 0-1-year-old and 3 to 7 is a coward. So if you want to know my feeling, you're a coward if you don't go heal yourself, because that body of yours was never meant to be mean and scared and upset and not trusting. So when I hear Patrick Chan say, you don't have to forgive, I understand, because he's working with people. I would be pretty fucking pissed if I found out that the reason I've done a bunch of shameful things in my life and that I still have a hard time believing in love and kind people is because I grew up with emotionally irresponsible human beings in this time and era. And it is a very straightforward equation. So while some will say it's disrespectful, I will say it's not disrespectful, because I got a bounty full of assholes being interviewed by the minute by a bunch of people who actually will bring that to me and tell me that I'm woo-woo pseudoscience, but they'll also say neuroscience. Excuse me? No, I don't do that, because I don't remember regurgitation of material, but above all, I don't want to waste fucking time with a coward who's a liar, who's actually in my face telling me that they find it hard to believe that neuroscience is true. And I'm like, okay, did you need to get your ears unplugged? I mean, really, I think that there's some wax in your ear. If I wanted to be a smartass, but I'm a 4'9" woman, I can't be. Men, you're not safe. Women, you're not safe either. But really, I don't want to waste my time, and God taught me not to play know-it-all on purpose. Because probably I'd be killed by now. I'm not joking, because all I have to say is one bit, and I'm pretty sure I would probably beat myself up, quote unquote. It's not because I would want to, it's because that's how reactive it would be for the very part of the 16-year-old who'd like, because that would be a truth. So, it's not that I want to be punched. I'm just saying when truth comes forth, it's because it speaks and resonates. And if a heart ain't wanting to heal and it's rage towards that which was denied you, well, the first thing that's in front of you is what you're going to take it out on. And that's why I'm not stupid. And that's why, I mean, really, it's sad to say, people, when they get angry, they really lose their shit. So I've been protected personally from not being near any person that I could actually break their heart. Except for, I'm not decent enough to be saluted. I mean, wow, dude, come on. Where's your wife? This established poet who has a wife whom we've never seen picks on me, quote unquote, for not becoming his friend. It's ridiculous. And he thinks he taught me a lesson, because the next time I saw him, I looked at him because I really couldn't. Once he said, am I not decent enough? I'm like, wow, decency. That's just so sad. So at least you looked at me. Okay, so I'm not disappointed in my brothers and sisters, because that's egoic, and I'm not disappointed in humanity, because that's egoic again, and there's God. But also, I'm not disappointed in people because they didn't choose to have trauma, nor did our ancestors, and there's a reason for fear, and it still protects us. So with that being said, a logical, genuine person knows it's shit that people don't want to go get healed. That's all, but I can't make them, so I won't, and I will talk about it however I want to talk about it, because I don't see people being very aware of their actual adaptive child part coming out and projecting in movies, on our human species, bunch of things. I've been seeing it since I was a kid. I'm like, there's no Lucifer, just a bunch of shitty, crappy shit. Disgusting, by the way. All of that, which is promiscuity, is not the sex revolution. A bunch of people want to keep their promiscuity in the very exact way of their visceral. And I'm not joking. They made tarot cards so they could fuck each other. And I'm like, excuse me. You don't clear energy spheres this way, and you do know what a shame pattern is, right? Like the dark side of neuroplasticity is not fun, but you also don't need to go and become a complete abstinent human being either, or continue perpetuating the medieval times. Why are you so skewed for a story versus common sense? Get into becoming your whole self, and you'll see how easy it is to use your human name. That's what we do here. So I'm, again, going to share any unknowns, not the end. Knowing virtue, really amazing. Disappointment, yeah, but not really, because, again, I can't make you accept who you are. I can't make you work with your mind in a way that's the inner growth. I can't make you drift and navigate your emotions in a way that is amazing. I cannot make you a part of the 5D collective, but I can sure as hell know that here, those of you who are teachable, and you continue to do spiritual self-help, personal development, and we expand each other, and we know that our contribution to the world is not only the lovely scientists, but also our own journey as we continue to move into expanded consciousness with the beginner's mind, and have compassion, and move into the future, and then bring our ventral vagal state. What I can tell you is I am proud of me being able to have treated every single person, and continuing to do so with my ventral vagal virtuous state. Doesn't mean they like me, but my point is that the ones that I'm thinking about, I was able to be in a space where talking sense to someone, and also sharing what my thoughts are without hiding. Why would I want to hide myself? And it's sad to say that there are people who will consistently hide the beautiful, beautiful child that's within them, because they haven't reclaimed it. And it's a pity. It's a very, very sad pity. But you can't make anyone go to Patrick Chan. So that being said, love your brothers and sisters. We'll have some more stories. Nobody chooses to have their trauma. And what we do is walk a walk and talk a talk. Restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating people. That's what you get to do when you add those mindfulness practices, the inner growth mindset. The readings are for the people who are vibing in the 5D frequency. I did know 4D and 3D would stick around, and I'm seeing how it plays out. So with that being said, not good or bad, just is. They can always choose to get out of that modulated embodiment and work with their virtue ventral vagal state by getting into an integrated brain, by expanding their window tolerance, so window welcome to affect, going to Patrick Chan, to real, again, becoming functional child adults. I'm here because I have an inner child that never died, and I'm a functional adult because my mother taught me manners, and I do mindfulness and the inner growth mindset, and that's because I have mindset skills, and I have had since as a kid. So I honor my inner child, which is why no one can shame me. And they can try. That's never going to work because it's not in this lifetime, and most likely not in future lifetimes, because I know where I come from when it comes to thank you, God. And love is very beautiful. So you choose it again and again and again as you stay open-hearted and open-minded and open-gutted and not self-righteous, not resentful. It's I forgive, I process, I metabolize, I understand, and then biologically rude people, they're not choosing to have that, which is their reactivity. They can choose to get beyond it, but if they can't, it's okay, because I can manage all children, as that's all they are. And 1 to 22 are the pathologies on Michael Stone's evil forensic chronologist scale who end up in prison or are followed around by other pathologies. So it's very easy to spot Diego's family as they turn against each other, play the coward's game, and they don't have each other's back. In fact, all it takes is one snap and you're out. Oh, now you're out. Now I'm your enemy. Wow. How amazing is it to watch people play Dungeons and Dragons and they think that the word leader is appropriate. I'm going to say the word not leader, but hey, it's okay. We're entertained because, God wins, and anyone who is actually picking a side, I'm like, wow, you really don't know where we're at, do you? I do, though. So we'll be back with more again. Have a good one.